Good evening. Good morning, I should say. It's the time of the thought juice starts flowing. Well, there we go. I was sick of getting copyright infringements, so I decided I'd just play my own music to start the show. So there was just a little something I threw down. I'm gonna go a little bit different here tonight, I think. You know, on all this political stuff, but I want to talk about something that's still of interest to me, and that would be dudes. What are grown men doing out there playing video games? You know, I mean, what the fuck are you guys? I've been seeing this shit all over the place, man. Grown ass men playing video games. I don't get it. Like, learn how to run a saw, learn how to fix your truck, do something. Video games? That's crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, this is a problem. This is an issue that we have in society. You know, I mean, I guess I came up just about at the age where the video game thing was getting kind of cool, right? Like, I mean, I remember like going with my dad to, and Pops, tell me if you remember this, but like we went to Billings to, goddamn, what was it? KB Toys, I think, to get like the. It was either the Super Nintendo or the 64. And it was more so for, I mean, like, I felt like I was just right along with the old man. You know, it was for my, you know, my two younger brothers. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I played the shit out of Super Mario 2 till I beat it, and then that was it. I mean, but it didn't ever define or decide my days. Now, it was, I'm trying to think how old I was when the whole thing started. Maybe 6th grade, 7th grade. There were some kids up the street that had a Nintendo, and I'd go over there after school because that was where, like, that was like the cool place to be because they had the Nintendo. They were playing, like, I don't even know what, Skate or Die or Ninja something. I don't know. I like going there because the dude had a shed in the back and there was a stack of Playboys up top. And let's just be honest. You know, the woodshed. Go to the woodshed. Anyway, I just don't get it, fellas. You know, I mean, I'll go over to your house and I see you sitting there playing on video games, dude. You know what, dude? You ain't got no fucking cred with me, straight up, dog. And I mean, 5 years ago, I think I played some video games. It was like Mafia 3. I got that game on the Xbox and played that and beat it, and that was it. But it was a fun game. I was like, I mean, that's one game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, since then I've smashed them and thrown them all in the dumpster. I guess one could say that what I'm doing right now is a video game. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm just talking with y'all, though. But grown-ass man, come on, man. Grow, you know, come on. Learn how to do something. Learn how to play guitar. Learn how to run a saw. Learn how to build something. Go out, change your oil. I don't know. Learn how to change a flat tire. I mean, I'm curious how many dudes out there really know how to, like, do something like that. Like, if I mean, how many guys out there would know how to fix a vehicle if it broke down? I know when I go to cities and I look around at men, it's pretty fucking pathetic. I mean, really. Pretty pathetic. I mean, dude, if you're wearing capri pants and carrying a man purse around, dude, it's going to be a bad deal. I mean, I saw a deal today, and I kind of like the idea of what New Hampshire is doing. New Hampshire is, they've kind of started their own thing. A lot of libertarians have moved there, It's the Free State Project is what they're calling it, I believe. And Mike Rowe was talking about this the other day. I don't know if you know who Mike Rowe is, Dirty Jobs. He happens to be an advocate of young people learning trades, learning how to work with their hands. And I had this conversation with my son sometime back. He came out in the shop and I was working on, I don't remember, I was building a table or something. He comes out and he goes, Dad, he goes, well, what are we going to do with automation? And I said, well, what do you know about that? He goes, well, I don't want to be on UBI. I said, well, what do you know about that? He goes, he goes, I've heard the podcasts that you listen to, and I've been listening to some of them, and I'm kind of curious. He's like, I don't want to be on UBI. And I said, well, I said, then you need to learn how to do the things that I'm doing right here. I said, you need to learn how to build things. You need to learn how to work on things. You need to learn how to repair things. Because, I mean, quite honestly, the fact of the matter is that, not too far down the road, people who know how to actually fix, repair, build things, do things with their hands, they're going to be, you're not going to be able to charge enough, And so, I always encourage young people to, it's too bad. I don't even know if they have wood shop anymore. I doubt they have auto shop. It's all this. What the fuck is Fortnite? Can somebody answer me that? I'd like to know that. I wasn't too bad about the whole Minecraft thing. Like Minecraft, I was kind of down with Minecraft. I was like, okay, the kids are building something with this. I was like, this is all right. But then all of a sudden, my kid's watching some weird British dude on YouTube playing Minecraft. I'm like, what the? What? It was like, I just bought you the video game system. Why are you watching some other dude? Well, like, who is this guy? And the guy's like, oh, well, here we go. Here we got a nice little block over here, and we're going to put this block over on this. And I'm going, what is this fucking chomo living in his mom's basement? Like trolling little kids, or what the hell's the deal here? And now you've got this whole Twitch thing that's apparently just, people keep telling me that I should stream on Twitch. But from everything I see, it's just a place to play video games. My beer fridge just popped. Why are people watching other people play video games? This is all really bizarre to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and in the way. I guess I don't get it. Why in the fuck do I want to watch I don't even want to play video games, much less watch some other jackass play video games. What's going on here? Am I losing it? It just seems like we've kind of gotten out of our minds. When I was younger, I remember the whole video game. Like, I never wanted to play video games. I wanted to go outside, hit a baseball, throw a football, run around, ride my bike, jump in a lake. I remember sitting there watching my friends and they'd fight over the controllers and everything. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, maybe I'm just at that borderline of that generational gap where it just didn't make sense to me. And don't get me wrong, I've played video games. I remember my roommates in Seattle, it was like, I guess it would have been maybe 2001 that the Xbox came out. And my roommate, he came home with the Xbox, the first Xbox. And they, of course, they put it on my TV out in the living room. And, I had the big TV. And I'd go out there and I'm like, no, what the fuck are you putting that shit on my TV? And, he threw me a controller. And he's like, it was Halo. I was like, give it a try, And yeah, honestly, we stayed up all night But that was, 2001. I was 25 years old, and we played that game all night long. Now, after that, I didn't play it again. I mean, it was like crazy. It was cool, but it wasn't anything that I was really interested in. I mean, it was fun. I mean, I was never really into it previously. So, I mean, it was I mean, we had a good time that night, but that was it, man. I mean, I've got an old PlayStation 2. I don't know. And I always get asked this question whenever I'm online, like filling the different things out. They'll ask what games do you play? And then at the bottom there's like option F, like I don't play games. Well, I play games. I play silly games, but I don't play video games. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess I play big boy games. I like to build things, ride things, ride snowboards, ride dirt bikes, do things like that. I mean, for the most part, I spend most of my time just fixing shit, it seems like. One broke down truck or another, but I don't know, it's just a curiosity to me to see grown-ass men playing video games. Man, it's like, what are you doing? I mean, whatever. That's cool. That's what you want to do. I guess go ahead. But, I mean, we're already headed towards this metaverse where we're going to be living inside of these I don't even know what you'd call it. These false embodiments of who we are, or maybe it's like who we want to be, I guess, in the metaverse. I don't know. That whole thing doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I thought it was bad enough with the whole book face thing initially, and then I got into it for quite a while, and I mean, I'm still on there. And I know I said I was going to make a better effort at getting on there and reading comments and responding to people, but you know what? I haven't done a very good job of that. Because guess what? There's life. You know what I mean? And that's why, I guess that's why I talk on here, but I mean, I think we need to kind of, I'd rather everybody wake up and realize, like, what's going on in front of you. Ask the questions. Like, perhaps like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the fucking point? What's the purpose? Like, what ask yourself, what the fuck is going on? We live a very short and pointless life for the most part. I mean, most of us don't really make a difference. We really don't. You go to school. Look at this. If you're say an above average American child, okay, you can go through school, you make the B on roll, 3.0, 3.2, something like that. When I was in high school, that was hardly even enough to go to college. Now everybody goes to college. Doesn't matter how fucking stupid you are, if you can read a sentence or not, you go to college. I mean, when I came out of prison, and while I was in there, I did an AutoCAD program through El Camino Community College. Came out with I guess they called it an AutoCAD certificate, but I did like 2 years of that. Trying to better myself, right? So I come out and I go to the local community college and enroll. And for some reason, even after turning in all my transcripts, which with all my college credits, which it's pretty extensive, they put me in a freshman communications class. So here I am. I've got an ankle monitor on. I'm 37 years old in a community college freshman class for communications. These kids can't read a sentence. They can't sound out words. Like, this was one of those classes where the teacher was a professor, whatever you want to call him. It was like you open the book and each person reads a sentence. Like when I was in like grade school, you read a paragraph. And then as you got older, it got to be where you read a chapter to the class. These kids could not read one sentence. And I'm sitting there asking myself, why are these kids even in college? What is going on here? They do not have the fundamental building blocks to read a sentence or sound out a word that's more than 4 syllables. And, it came down to the final day of class, and we had a substitute teacher, and we'd had to have turned in I think there was like a 12-page paper that was due at the end. And I think I sat down the night before it was due and wrote mine out and got an A+. It was a paper. I mean, how hard is it to write a paper? Especially about communications. I mean, I guess at the time I'd just come out of prison. Communications is kind of a big thing in there. I'd been running my own business. Kind of a big thing is communications when you're running a business, I mean, but the sub comes in and hands out the results of the papers to everybody the last day of class. And she's like, anybody who didn't get over a 85% needs to stay in class and figure out what they need to do to get the quality of their paper up, And so she's handing out the tests or not the test, the papers, right? And so she gets to me and hands it to me, it says A+. I'm like, all right. So I just throw it in my bag and start, throw my pen in there, whatever the fuck else I got, and get up to leave. And she's like, oh, Mr. File, would you mind staying? And I was like, no, actually, I need to get back to Cody because I have to go read to my son's kindergarten class this afternoon. I need to be there by 1 o'clock, so I have to go. And she's like, well, you're the only one that is able to leave because you're the only one who had a high enough score on their paper. I was just hoping that maybe you'd stay and work with some of the other students. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I got to go. I got responsibilities. And bounced out. And I'm walking out of there thinking, oh my God, I'm in a class with 25 other kids, these kids. And it's like, they can't even get over 85% on a fucking paper for freshman communications. I mean, that's how sad this world. That's what's going on. That's and I look at that as an indictment, not on those kids, not on that age group, not on that generation. I look at that as an indictment on us. I look at that as an indictment on society. Sitting in there at 37, 38 years old, whatever it was, and sitting there with a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids. I mean, at that point, I am technically old enough to be, their father. And so it's people my age that this is what we're putting out there. I mean, that's an indictment on us. You can sit there and say millennial this, millennial that. Now we're beyond the millennials, I guess. But the younger generations are certainly a reflection of ourselves. And so to sit there and say they have no work ethic, to say they've got, they have no education, it's easy to make fun of. It's easy to talk shit about, but really it's an indictment on those of us who are older. And I still have a hard time considering myself to be almost 50 years old. I mean, I'll be 46 in March, and I'm just like, whoa, dude, what the fuck happened, man? It's like, I mean, that seems unreal to me. I mean, but, I'm reminded of it every morning that I wake up, have a hard time getting out of bed, back pain. Like I said, I've felt my feet in close to 3 years now. I don't know what to do about it. I just put my boots on every day. Makes it hard to climb ladders and scaffolding and shit like that. But it's kind of part of the reason I started doing this. Maybe find a different way to go. I figure after beating myself into the ground, for however many years. Maybe I should do something a little different. And so here we are. But really, yeah, what we need to do, I think, is you know, as people that are a little bit older, a little more experienced, a little more, I guess, privy to the ways of the world, is we need to do a better job of teaching our kids, teaching the youngsters, you know. And I'm just as guilty. I get frustrated with youngsters, but it doesn't mean that we should stop trying to help them out, because, I mean, they certainly are going to need it. I mean, especially the way this world's going. I just can't help but think that we're going to come to a time when it's going to, you know, that things are going to fall apart. I mean, things are already falling apart. And here I go delving back into the state of things. But I was just sitting here thinking about, I was watching some shit earlier, and these dudes are playing video games, like yelling at each other, and they're like my age. And they're like throwing fits and yelling at the TV and shit over video games. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, I haven't watched actual TV. I don't know. I mean, here I'm wearing my Luke Wilson jersey, right? I don't even know when the last time was Luke Wilson played for the Seahawks. I think he went to the Detroit Lions. I mean, I'm wearing a football jersey like I'm a little kid. But it just looked like it was a comfortable shirt to wear tonight, to tell you the truth. But, you know, it's like, what are we doing here, people? And I mean, I'm talking out to, you know, this might come off as misogynistic, sexist, whatever, but men, you know, we got to do a better job. I mean, and I personally, and I'm calling myself out on that. I need to do a better job with my son, with getting him involved in, you know, getting in there and working with his hands. And he does a pretty good job with a lot of that stuff. He really does. I mean, he works on his skateboard, he works on his bikes, you know, which, hey, that's cool. You know, but, you know, we need to work on pushing young people to keep learning those skills, because I think there's going to come a time here when, I mean, you know, life is entropy. I don't know if any of you have ever read the Thomas Pynchon short story called Entropy. Entropy is basically the second law of thermodynamics. It's basically that everything is breaking down. So that, I mean, to me, that holds to be true, because, I mean, you think about it. I mean, every second that you're alive, right? Every breath that you're taking, every word that I'm speaking is the day that I'm coming closer to death, right? I mean, we were basically born to die, because once you're alive, you're just working your way to death, right? At least of this body, this car that we're driving around in. And that's kind of how I look at it, right? It's like this, I mean, I'm just driving around in a rental car right now. You know what I mean? None of us know what happens to our consciousness, but we all know that we have the same end in sight. We all have the same ticket we got to punch. We all have the same damn thing coming down the pike at us. None of us get out. We don't get out of it. You don't get out of it. Let's be realistic about it. You know, I mean, you can talk about eternal life. You can have your religious points of view, whatever you want to have. That's fine. You're privy to that. And I'm not going to sit there and argue with you. You know, I mean, some people believe in heaven. Some people believe in hell. Some people believe in, you know, the idea that you're worm food, that you're here and it's one and done. You know, I'm not really sure where I fall into that whole thing. I don't know. I honestly believe that we're consciousness, but that's it. Other than that, I don't know what to say about it. You know, I think we are consciousness. We're the only species on this planet that is uncomfortable. You got to look at that, right? Like human beings, okay, right? We are uncomfortable. You turn the thermostat up 5 degrees or turn it down 5 degrees, one way or another, right? Within 10 degrees, We're uncomfortable. And that's sitting here in our clothes, our high dollar tennis shoes, in our homes. Think about what happens. Think about what happens if I throw you out in the middle of the night in Wyoming tonight. You gonna make it? Take your clothes, throw you out there naked in Wyoming night in January? How are you gonna fare? It's amazing that we are where we're at as a people. Which makes you wonder, and this is what makes me question the whole idea of evolution. Because it doesn't seem like that we were a natural possibility. I mean, supposedly you had a fish flounder out of the sea. He comes up on the shore with his flippers. All of a sudden develops feet. Scales turn into skin and fur. Turns into a shrew. Shrew turns into some kind of a monkey. Monkey gets bigger, turns into an ape. And then you have Australopithecus, Neanderthal, Southern Ape Man, right? Caveman, hunter-gatherer, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, you have Sumeria, the Mesopotamian Valley, right? You've got language, you've got written law, you have civilization, you have structure, you have okay. If evolution were a thing right now, everybody always wants to argue this. The people who want to have the back of science, no matter what, right? My argument is this: it's like who came up with science? Man, right? Is man not fallible? We all can admit that we're fallible, right? I mean, for fuck's sake, we got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris running this fucking country. They're the two top dogs in this fucking world. A guy that has marbles in his mouth and a vice president who doesn't even know where the fuck she's at. I mean, Jesus Christ. I listened to that Craig Melvin interview, and I believe that was on NBC, and he's asking her, he's like, do you think that maybe we should start doing this? And she says something like, it's time for us to do what we've been doing, and that time is every day. How is that a fucking... If anybody out there thinks that that's an answer, do you believe that's an answer? If you believe that's a legitimate answer from the vice president of the United States, right? You're talking about the second in charge of a nation of 340 million people. That's our number two. Okay? That's the answer? And he reiterated that. He asked her over and over. And that was the answer that we got. Over testing for, this man-made bullshit that has brought mankind to their knees, and the death rate on it is what? I don't even know what it is. It's a ridiculous amount, and they're telling all this. I mean, it's just I go back to the same thing. I digress. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that it's like we don't belong here. We sit here and we talk about aliens, and then there's the whole theory of, well, if we haven't seen them, and I'm trying to remember the name of the guy whose theory it is that about, if we haven't seen aliens, then, or if we haven't seen extraterrestrials, then, in all these years. But who's to say? None of us are to say. I mean, we all sit here and we want to argue this and that. We want to throw out these statistics, and we want to talk about billions of years. Well, the Earth has been here billion. You don't know. None of us know. You know what I know? I know from about 1980 until the present tense, and a lot of that is a little bit shady. You know what I mean? I mean, to sit there and want to argue with somebody about millions, billions, even 1,000 years is incomprehensible to us. We don't know what was up 1,000 years ago. Let's think about that. We're in 2022, so that takes us back to 1022. Hey, who knows what was going on then? Who knows what was going on too? I mean, and you can sit there and say, well, history, and this and that and the other thing. History was always written by the winners. You know what I mean? And there's none of it that, I mean, you want to go back and you know, I've read the Bible, right? There's a lot of good parables in there. There's a lot of decent things, but there's also a lot of really bad shit. Go back and read the Old Testament, right? I mean, people want to talk about the Quran and how violent the Quran is. Go back and read the Old Testament. I implore you, go read the Old Testament and you tell me what's up with that. And you put that side by side with the Quran and you tell me, you know, what's a more violent book. Really. I mean, the Old Testament was some nasty shit. I mean, let's look some of this shit up here. I mean, that shit was crazy. I mean, you know, you're talking about God sending a dude out to murder his own son. And then right when he's ready to plunge a knife in him, he says, oh, no. Abraham, I was just testing you. I mean, can you imagine how that would play out this day? Like if you're the boss, right? You tell your employee, listen, you're going to get fired. But if you take your firstborn and you take him up on the mountain and build an altar to me, and you spill his blood, you kill him, then I'll move you up to supervisor, right? How's that going to play out? I mean, that's what the Old Testament was all about, you know? I mean, it's crazy shit. It's really wild. I mean, it's really wild. I'll look at this video here and see what they got to say on this shit. Let's see what we got going here. This ought to be interesting. Abraham. Slavery. From a bush. That's an interesting take. We'll see what George Carlin has to say about the Ten Commandments. Here, let's check this out. This is pretty funny shit. I love this. I mean, really, it boils down to, like, be a good person. This man was just a treasure. Basically. The plays of the day. This is great. Ooh, and not true. Ooh, stealing wine. That's interesting. I guess that kind of leads us to talk about government a little bit, doesn't it? Who's lied to you more in your life? What the hell is my microphone crackling? Has it been the government or parents, school teachers, a little bit of each? I mean, I think the government's lied to us more than just about anybody, and I think that it all kind of stems from that. That's just me. I could be out of my mind. But this is going to lead me on a different track here. So we're going to keep listening to the Ten Commandments here by George Carlin, and then after this, I'm gonna delve into something a little bit deeper because I don't want to go there quite yet. Here we go. Back to George. Oh. Oh. No shit. No shit. Ain't that right? What hat do you wear? No kidding. Gotta love Carlin. Gotta love him. I mean, that dude had it. God, we certainly lost a treasure with George Carlin. You know, I mean, that dude was you want to talk about a prophet. I mean, he's called out a lot of shit that's coming through. But anyway, so with all that in mind, we started off talking about video games, and how just stupid I think they're. I mean, really, what are you doing, dude? If you're a little kid, okay, whatever. If you're a grown man and you're sitting around and you get home from work or whatever, and then you sit down in a chair and you play video games, and you're sitting there on chat rooms and this and that, and then you especially if you're one of these dudes that puts out now, what is up with this? Okay, I don't get this. All right, you're gonna sit there and then you're gonna make a video of you playing your video games. Who the fuck was? But people watch that shit. Who the fuck is watching that? Why would you watch that? Why in the world? Isn't the idea of a video game to play the video game? Not sit here and watch some other turd play it. I mean, it's like if I want to go ride my dirt bike, right? Now, is the same thing as me sitting here and watching somebody else ride their dirt bike? Good question. Good question, right? No. I mean, I go out and work on the thing and make sure that when the weather's right, I can get out on it. I don't sit here and it's not the same. It ain't the same thing. I mean, it's not the same thing. So sit there and watch somebody else play video games. I mean, that's just like, what the fuck are you doing? You got the console sitting there in front of you, right? I could never understand that when my kid was watching that shit. And I was like, dude, but you got the game right there. You got the box and the game and the TV. I mean, it's all right there. Why are you watching this British chomo? Hey, see what I do now? See, is I go up to my menu box and I pluck out a blip blip blip. Huh? Why do I mean, to me, I'd rather figure out how to do that myself. I mean, maybe it's like watching how-to videos. I don't know, perhaps. Because, maybe it is. Maybe I'm being hypocritical. Because I know when I don't know how to do something, many times I resort to YouTube. Because let's face it. Let's be honest here. There's a redneck doing just about anything you can think of somewhere in this country at some point. And now everybody's got a smartphone. And you don't be shitting yourself. Those motherfuckers, they'll film themselves doing anything. And I have learned how to do a lot of things from YouTube. So maybe it's the same thing. However, what I'm learning to do, I think, is something in the real world. Well, whatever we might want to call it the real world. Who knows? Maybe the video games is the real world. Maybe when we're asleep and dreaming, we're actually in the real world. I don't know. Who's to say? It's all a fucking paradox. It's all a duality. It's all some of this and some of that. But I do watch people do things so I can learn. So maybe that, I guess, is why people watch other people play video games. But it kind of seems like it's on a different type of scale there, you know? I could be wrong. Maybe I am being a hypocrite. But I don't necessarily see what good comes out of. I mean, at the end of the day, when you beat a video game, really, what's the? I mean, I think I've beat 2 video games in my entire life, and after that, I never revisited it. You know. But if I learn how to change out a ball joint on my truck, if I learn how to change out a high pressure oil pump, if I learn how to change out the fuel filters, if I learn how to build a different style of cabinet, if I learn how to make a different style of table, if I learn how to put a different finish on something, that's something that I can use over and over and over again and get better at and develop my own style at doing it. Now, I guess if you look at it, one of those things has a monetary advantage at the end of the whole thing, whereas the other one not necessarily. But there are people that make money playing video games, and I guess to be said, these guys that are playing video games and doing it on YouTube videos and people are subscribing, I guess they're playing them on Twitch or whatever, I guess they're making money on that. So, I mean, maybe at the end of the day, we're not doing things so differently. Only difference is I've not figured out how to do, or not ever wanted to do the videos. Maybe I should start doing how-to videos when I'm doing things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I am being off base here, because I guess if you're making money on it, you know, it just seems kind of, to me, it seems a little bit frivolous and stupid. But I guess if that's a way for you to make money or whatever, then I don't know. Go to it, son. It just seems kind of silly to sit there and watch somebody play video games. To learn how to play video games is like, I thought you learned how to play video games by playing video games. But I'm not a gamer, so I wouldn't know. And I do have to say, like I said, I mean, a lot of the shit that I've learned over the years, I mean, if I'm stuck on something, like if I'm like jammed up and like, God, you know, like looking at something going, shit, how the hell do I do this? You know, it's like, you know, I will. And I do have a laptop out in my shop, and I'll go out there and pull that thing up and type that in, you know, and sit there and watch some redneck down in wherever, Arkansas, Mississippi, whatever. Guy's out there with an iPhone with a headlamp on, crawled under an old Ford truck. I'll sit there and watch that. But then I can figure out how to go out and fix my truck so I can get where I need to go the next day. So, I don't know. Is there a difference? Is there not a difference? Sound off on this. Let me know what you think, people. Perhaps there is, perhaps there isn't. I mean, this is all a learning experience anyways, so I'm not afraid to admit if I'm wrong. Maybe if I'm being hypocritical here, then I am. And if so, let me know. Let me know what you think about the differences there. I mean, I guess you could say if somebody's making those videos and they're putting them out there and they're making a living on it, I mean, I guess more power to them. I mean, I don't think everybody's going to be able to do that. I mean, what are your chances of falling into that category? I don't know. And then you got to sit there and wonder, you know, you start talking about video games and it's like, well, is that just what we are? I mean, we could very well be the Sims. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at like a Dolores Cannon, you know, there we go with the camera. She talks about this concept of the backdrop people, right? So we're talking about basically the concept here is like, okay, let's say you're playing GTA, Grand Theft Auto, right? I don't know what the newest one is. Last time I think I played it was Grand Theft Auto 2. But the concept is like in Grand Theft Auto, right? You've got people milling about, driving around, doing this, that, the other thing. They don't actually come into existence until you turn that corner, right? And then all of a sudden they start milling about, right? Like legitimately, they don't come to a state of motion until within the game you turn the corner and you see them. And so Dolores Cannon makes the argument that there are background people out there that are in this realm on this ethereal plane that don't come into action until we, in effect, look at them, until we take them into consideration, right? So until we turn the corner, they could be doing nothing. But then when we turn the corner, boom, all of a sudden, they're there. And how many people do you run across in your day-to-day life that it's like they're just, you know, not zombies, but I don't know how to define it, but people that just wander around basically just doing their task, and it's like they've not got anything. Like you look them in the eye and there's like nothing there, right? And maybe that's because they've been doled down by, you know, working a menial job their entire life, being marginalized by society, told that they're, you know, that the only thing they're here for is to go work that, you know, shitty cheese job. I don't know. But I do run into a lot of people like that. It's like you look at them and they're like soulless, you know? And maybe it's not the fact that they're soulless. Maybe they've just been, you know, taught to believe the bullshit that we've all been told our entire lives. I mean, you look at what they teach us, you know, what they taught us. And when I say us, I'm talking about people that are, you know, within my age group, I guess, or, you know, younger, older, perhaps, whatever. But I mean, you look at the concept and the constructs of the classroom. And I'm talking to my son about this today, earlier. We're talking about masks. And so I'm like, okay, so what are the requirements in school for the mask? And he said he had a teacher that would send, he said you don't have to wear the mask per se, but if they've done the contact tracing, and so let's say as a kid, you're assigned a seat, right? Excuse me, I want to fix my headphones. So you're assigned a seat in school, right? You have no choice with where you sit, right? So you sit next to such and such, right? And they don't show up in class the next day because they went home and they exhibited signs of a cold. They were taken to the testing place, wherever that is, administered a COVID test, and they came back positive. So because you sat across the row from that person, now all of a sudden, boom, now you had, through the contact tracing that they do now, all of a sudden you were, you know, maybe you didn't have to wear the mask the day before, but you got to wear it now, right? And so he said he's got a teacher that will send him down to the principal. He's had a friend that just because of where he's sat, he's had to go home and quarantine himself for up to 5 to 7 days just because of where he's seated in a class. I mean, what in the hell are we doing? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then he said the teachers will sit up there, and he said most of the time she doesn't have a mask on. He said they'll have a class break. She goes outside the classroom, stands there, no mask on. Or if she does, he said if she does have one, she takes the thing and she pulls it out from her face when she talks. Well, okay, let's say that so-and-so is sitting within one row of so-and-so that tests positive, right? It's been shown that people are asymptomatic, especially kids. So you've got this kid over here, is asymptomatic and finally starts to show symptoms, right? Goes and gets a tests positive. Okay, so now all the kids within a certain parameter of that kid, now they got to have, the mask, or they got to quarantine. Well, who's to say that those kids in that parameter didn't send it on over to the other kids, and from them to the next? I mean, if you've got one kid in a class that's positive, it seems to reason that you probably got a whole class full of kids that are positive, including a teacher, because you have HVAC systems, right? I mean, that's not something that we don't have, right? I mean, you've got heat, you've got AC, that's circulating, okay? That's circulating, right? So this is an airborne deal. So that it's circulating throughout the entire school, right? So you've got returns, and you've got airflow. So the air is being recirculated from classroom to classroom, hallways, gymnasiums, libraries, computer rooms, administration. It's all going through this ductwork. So why the fuck are we making kids wear a mask? I'm sorry. I'm questioning this. I might get shut down for doing so, but I'm questioning it. Why? I mean, if you're talking about an airborne pathogen, whatever you want to call it, virus, that takes flight from a sneeze, then if I sneeze and I'm sitting right underneath an air duct, they said, at first it was, 6 feet, then it was this, then it was that, and the other thing. I mean, you see goofball president, they show a video of him at his little, it was last year at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And he's sitting there, he's got, grandkids and stuff, and nobody has a mask on. They're all hugging one another, close proximity. I mean, they're saying, I'm not even going to get into the whole thing with the jab. I mean, the jab just seems, it is what it is. Do you want a jab? Jab. Go ahead. Jab it up. I don't know. I would venture to guess that most of our children have probably already had the thing and probably just didn't even know they had it. Probably have immunity. Like I said, I know I've had it twice. I had the original and the D. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Omicron. But I tell you personally, I'm not getting the jab. I'm not going to do it. And that's my right. But it's your right to do it if you want to do it. I don't give a shit. Go ahead. Do it. That makes no difference to me. I mean, the thing is, though, is if you do it, you should feel if your reasoning is that you're going to be okay, and the reason to do it is, that you shouldn't have to worry about anybody else. But now all of a sudden we've turned this into a deal where it's like, well, you won't have as severe of an effect. Well, what, every 6 months you got to get this? Because this thing is going to mutate. I mean, unfortunately, we are we're looking at an endemic, where this is going to be something that humanity is going to have to live with. It's an endemic. It's not anymore a pandemic. And that's how these things go. It's just like the common cold. That's why there's no vaccine for the common cold. Because the thing mutates like crazy. And what makes it mutate faster than anything, especially with this other bullshit, is that when everybody, when you're talking about trying to vaccinate everyone, well, what strain is going to survive? I mean, a virus is not alive. What it's doing is it's looking for a host, right? And it can mutate. But you're not talking about something that's alive. But if everybody, the more people that, go that route, then what's going to survive? The strain that can survive, right? And then that's the one that's going to go out there. So, I mean, I'm no scientist, never have claimed to be one, but, I try to exercise some common sense in a lot of these things. And it seems like that's something that's been missing a lot lately. It's missing in our leadership. It's missing in our educational system. It's missing in our healthcare system. It's missing in a lot of places. It's just common sense. I mean, it seems to have gone sideways. I mean, which gets me down to the point. I mean, there's some things that we got to look at. I mean, we got to look at the motivation. And there's one thing that's never proven to be false. All right, if you sit back, right, and you look at the root cause of something, you can always fall back on one thing: follow the money. That's never proven wrong. If you follow the money, if you do that, if you follow the money and put your blinders on to everything else and follow the money, you're pretty much you're gonna go down the rabbit hole that's gonna take you to the root cause of things. You know what I mean? I mean, it's true. Show me one time in history where the phrase "follow the money" hasn't got you to the root cause of what the fuck is going on. All right? So in this circumstance, in this situation, and what we have going on in not only in our country but globally right now, I'd ask you to follow the money. So I'm going to leave you with: follow the fucking money. Get back to me. Let me know what you find out. I'm not going to tell you anything else. I want you to do your homework. I always want you to do your homework. I do my homework. The only reason I say what I say is because I do my fucking homework. And I'd like you to as well. So follow the money. Sit down, break it down, figure it out, and then follow it. See where it goes. I think you'll be interested to find out what the final result is. I think you'll be interested to find out who the players are. And who's running the game. Just saying. Call me what you will. I don't give a shit. I don't care one way or another. But do that. That's my challenge to everybody. All my 3.2 listeners that I have out there, that's my challenge right now. Follow the money and get back to me. Okay? Make a comment in the video, whatever the fuck, let me know. Let me know what you find. Because when you break it all down, no matter what situation you're looking at, no matter what kind of emergency that they put out there, no matter what it is, at the end of the day, it's always coming down to the money, right? And I shouldn't even say money, I should say currency, because as we've discussed on this show, there's a difference. And so I'm going to stop right there. We're going to pick up tomorrow with currency versus money and the hope of a new way to go with society. There's a gentleman that I'm going to introduce you all to, who I've just been recently introduced to, and I've been doing a lot of extensive research into his material. The man passed away in 2017, but revolutionary thought process going on with this man and what he was trying to do with his life. And I find it to be pretty revolutionary, and it actually coincides with a lot of what I've had to say over the years. And it kind of excites me. And I'm going to introduce you all to that probably tomorrow, maybe the next day, and have a conversation regarding this man. I'm not going to drop any names right now. I'll introduce you to him and his way of thinking and his project that is actually still in the works, and it's something that I'm getting involved with as well, and just started with today. Just joined up, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually, because these are a bunch of people that are actually on the same wavelength. I think that I'm trying to, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you never know. It's like, what Yoda said, there's no try. There's either you do or you don't. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm doing, which is why I'm here talking to you. I mean, it takes quite a bit to come up with all this, and to have the courage to sit here and speak on camera to everybody. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. Everybody I've brought in the studio has been terrified to even do this until they get on the mic, until they get in front of the camera, until they actually start to speak. And then they go, wow, that was awesome. And so that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. Anybody's likes, if you subscribe, if you hit the like button, positive feedback is awesome. If it's negative feedback, if you got something to argue with me about, if you catch me slipping in a fucked up state of mind, call me out on that too. I don't care. Feedback is feedback, but you know what? Feedback means that you're thinking. And that's what I want. I want people to, use your head one way or another. I don't care if you agree or disagree with me. If you disagree with me, that's fine. We can have that conversation. And I'm not going to stomp out of the room and get all pissy and whatever. I mean, hey, if you're right, then thank you. I've always looked at it like that. And that's kind of the premise of the show. Like if you got to set me right, got to set me straight because I'm skewed and because I'm going sideways, then please do, because you're doing me a favor. I mean, I used to tell my guys that all the time. You find a different way to do something that's more efficient, that's better, that's quicker, that turns out, better quality. Guess what? You're going to get a raise. I've never been that type of person to say that, just because you don't think like I do, that you're wrong. I don't think that at all. If you can show me that I'm slipping and out there wandering around the weeds trying to find my golf ball, then hey, lead me back to the fairway. Get me back to the golf cart where my beer is. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm serious though. I mean, that's the idea, is that hopefully we can all put aside these differences and these things that we've allowed to divide us all, these political things and this and that, because quite frankly, it's all been implemented to keep us divided and manipulate us. So we all need to, as human beings, we need to unite. We need to come together. We need to look out for one another. We need to take care of each other. We need to express ideas to one another. We need to be honest. We need to talk about these things, and we need to do so outside of the monetary system, because so often that is what kind of deflects us. It's also what motivates us to say the things we say. It's the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots are going to go one way, the haves are going to go the other way. But what we need to do is what I'd like to see is, and it doesn't matter what I'd like to see, okay? Because I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I'm just some jackass, and we're all just basically the same. But if we can throw off the jackassery and, take it down to, a personal level, the human to human level, the idea that we are all one, right? One. We all are. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter how short or long your hair is. It doesn't matter suntan, no sun. It doesn't matter, We all are one. And when it breaks down to it, that if you think about it that way, that takes the fear out of things, right? And that's the big thing too, is we have to be fearless. Okay, fear does serve a purpose, right? But it doesn't mean we have to be fearful. We need to be fearless. And especially when it comes to truth, when it comes to honesty, when it comes to love and compassion. And that's the bottom line, is being compassionate towards one another, walking a mile in somebody else's shoes, or at least trying to understand what that's like. And the closer we get to doing that, the closer we get to being on the right path, to being better. Now, we're not doing that, right? Think about what politician has ever done you any good? Answer me that. I don't see it. I've never personally had a politician come over to my house and, well, hey, let me, where's your weed whacker? Let me knock your weeds down. Where's your lawnmower? Oh, you got a problem with where's your socket set? No. Not happened. The closest I think I've been to any politicians was when George Bush Jr. flew into Seattle, and the traffic on the I-5 stopped for about 35 minutes, dead stop downtown Seattle. I was sitting on the hood of my truck, smoking a joint with the guy that was stopped right next to me because he flew into Boeing Field. And then the motorcade went flying past us going the other direction, and then we finally got to get going. It's probably the closest I've been to. Well, that, and I've done some work for a certain politician around here who's kind of a big name. I'm not going to drop it. But I have had moon pies and RC Cola with him. And he's a good dude. And I used to drool on his shoes when I was like a 2-year-old. So he knows who he is. Maybe. He's old now. Way old. But he is a big name in politics, and I see him around from time to time, and we always have a good laugh. But that's about it. But really, yeah, I mean, they've done nothing for you. And they're not doing anything for you. And we want to throw our yard signs out and wear hats, and then, I hate you because of your hat and you hate me because of my yard sign. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's just nonsense. It's another way to keep you entrapped, enslaved, and under the thumb of the powers that be. It's an oligarchy. We've never had a democracy. Okay? I'm sick and tired of hearing that being thrown around. Everyone wants to talk about democracy. We don't live in a fucking democracy. Okay? It's a representative republic, and it's not very representative of any of us. So understand that. Do your homework. That's what I'm asking you. Do your homework. Dive down the rabbit hole. Find out what's up. And do that with the monetary system too, people. Look into it. Find out what you're looking at with the money. Because that's where it all stems from, right there. And that's where we're going to pick up on the next episode. And I hope you tune in for that, because we're going to get into some things that you may not necessarily want to hear, but I'm going to encourage you to listen. That's all I'm asking. Just hear me out. If you disagree, you disagree. That's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm not here to tell anybody how to think. But what I'm here to do, what I'm trying to do is be a conduit. I just want to be a passageway of information to y'all. And that's it. I'm not here for any money. I'm not here for any other reason than to just try and be a conduit. I want to pass information on, and basically just help, like help with all of us trying to figure this out. Because when you sit back and you think about, think about it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you here to just pay a mortgage, to pay bills? To clock in, to clock out, to spend the best years of your life, behind a desk or in a laboratory, or work in construction, or working at retail, work in sales, what have you. I mean, there's a number of people that I do know that love their jobs. Not very many, but there are a few. Most people I talk to fucking hate their. How many out there just fucking can't wait for fucking Friday, right? Today was Monday. I think. Do I know? Oh, no, I don't. Today is Tuesday, right? Maybe. What time is it? 4 a.m. So if you're up listening to this, then y'all need to get some rest, because you got to go punch in. Or if you're listening to this, then you're on the right path. I mean, it's time to put some thought into what the hell you're really doing. Are you just burning all these hours of your life? Because you don't have many. I mean, let's do the math on it, right? Let's say that, I don't know what the average age is of a man in this country at this point in time. Let's just call it 70, okay? We'll just rough it out. 70 is probably a little bit, maybe too much, maybe too little, I don't know. But that means you get 365 days, so you get 25,550 days. That's what you get, right? That means you get, here we are, 70 times 365, 25,550, okay? It's our days. So times 24, that gives us 613,200 hours in our life, right? That's not that much. 613 hours. That's what we get. Ask yourselves, is it all about getting those good grades in high school, going to college, putting yourself in debt, going to work in a job where you gotta sit in rush hour traffic every morning, every night? You get a break from 10 to 10:15, then you get lunch from 12 to 1. Or if you're a construction worker, you get lunch from 12 to 12:30. Punch out 4:30, 5 o'clock, back on the road again. Got to go 20 miles to get home. Guess what? You get to sit in 2 hours of traffic. Honk, honk, gas. Gas, brake, honk. You're looking at people. I mean, I remember when I lived in Seattle, I was looking at people. I always in the slow lane, right? Rolling slow lane. Just like this. Rolling slow lane. Beer in the console. Joint in hand. Puffing. Listening to Fish or Strings, whatever the hell, Widespread Panic, listening to tunes, slow lane, just doing it, And I'd look over and I'd see dudes, they're in their Honda Accord, they got their tie on and their shirt, they took their jacket off, sitting there just beating on the hood, hammering on the steering wheel, just yelling at traffic. And that was that dude. I mean, I'd look over there and go, God damn, that's that guy's life every day. Are you living that life? Is that your life? I want to look at changing that. I mean, I'd always sit there and laugh, Even though I was right there in the traffic with him, I was over there in the slow lane. You know what I mean? And really, that's the best way to go, because you ride in that right lane in a big city, everybody that merges on, the first thing they want to do is cut traffic off and get all the way over their left. And what do? They cause everybody over there to hit the brakes. You stay in the slow lane, you just let them go right in front of you, and they're gone. I'm going to swear to God, you get faster in the slow lane. It's like the tortoise and the hare. Never fails. Slow and steady always wins the race, people. And on that note, we were going to cut this off from Michael File here at the Mike Files. I'm your brother. You're all my brothers and sisters. I love you, each and every one of you. Please hit the button if you've stuck around this long. If I've bored the shit out of you, tell me that. Let me know. Hit me up. Y'all be good or be good at it. How about that? Peace out.